All right, seniors, I'm back and ready to explore part two of this presentation. Hopefully you found part one informative and maybe you learned something um, about the career side of it and you are more aware of the resources that are available to you. For this part, we're going to switch gears to the college applications. Now you guys are seniors. You've probably been asked 10,000 times what your plans are for next year. Um, and that's going to continue to happen. There's no other way I can say that. People are going to continue to ask those questions, but remember, this decision is about you. It's about what's best for your long-term goals, what's best for your possible career outcome, and really the college decision, the college choice is yours. And your family plays a role in that, your friends play a role in that. But in the end, we want you to go to the place where you're going to have success. And whatever that success is for you, whether that's getting a job right out of college, maybe it's going into a grad school, whatever your path is, maybe it's an apprenticeship program where you get some on the job training, whatever that is, um, we want to set you up in a place where you can have success. So we're going to talk about applications. We're going to talk about a super important part that's happening this year, especially with the test optional stuff, the essays. It's going to be important that you write a great essay, no matter what your path is. Um, Writing is something that is a part of every profession, and getting the opportunity to improve that skill is something that you should definitely take advantage of. So I hope you get something out of this next part of the presentation. And as always, you guys know where to find me down here in the Career Center or through email or on Twitter or um, shooting me a meeting request through our website, whatever you need, you guys know where to find me. So let's jump in. So the college application process, some of you have already started this, and maybe some of you have even gone through all of these steps, and that's great. If you haven't done that yet, that's okay. This isn't a I don't want to add added pressure to you by starting to talk about this, right? If we were just saying general timelines for folks, right? When should you have this done? And again, this is a really general, broad brush kind of approach to this. The fall. So if we said from now until call it November 1st is probably the first college deadlines, maybe November 15th, maybe December 1. Every college is going to have a little bit different deadline. So make sure you're checking the college's website. But if we just said with our general approach to this, by November 1, you had in your college application. Um, we're going to talk about the FAFSA later in a couple slides here, the financial aid piece of this. But fall, November 1, um, is the college applications. October 1, or if we called it November 1, there's a little bit of overlap there through January is financial aid season. That's when you're doing your FAFSA. You're figuring out. You're getting to hear back from colleges about what type of financial aid package you're going to receive. You're making your decisions based off of the financial aid that you receive, and then the spring it switches to scholarships. Right, some scholarships uh, open up now, and I'll talk about that on a couple slides as well. Some scholarships open up or like late fall. But I would say the majority of the ones that we have happen in the spring, especially our community-based scholarships, like from Andover whatever association. They are all going to be in the spring. You probably have heard of the Community Scholarship Night. Um, that happens in May. So I'll get to all that stuff, but let's get to the college application process. So step one is to apply directly online. Apply to the college either through the website, or some of you have maybe heard of the Common App. The Common App is a website. It's commonapp.org, where you can fill out one application and then you use that same application for several different schools. My general rule is if you are applying to one or two Common App schools, it's always going to be easier to use to apply directly to the institution. Colleges don't care; they don't have a preference. They don't have you're not ranked in a different pool if you use the Common App versus the college website. If you want to apply to the University of Minnesota Twin Cities, you can go right to their website and fill out what's called the institutional website or the institution application. They call it their Goldie Gopher application, or you could go through Common App. Again, my experience always says that the college's website has a more direct approach. It's a more streamlined application. I would always recommend that. If you're someone that's doing 4, 5, 6 different Common App schools, Maybe some Common App only schools, you're not going to have that choice. But so that's the first step, just the application. The second piece of this is to send in all of the materials needed. So if the school requires a transcript, there is a process to that as well. The transcript, you have to fill out the form. There's a form down here in the Career Center, or it's available on our website. You pay a $3 fee, and then you request it in Naviance for every school that you're applying to that requires a transcript. So if you're applying to the University of Minnesota, maybe St. Cloud State and maybe St. Thomas, the U of M is going to have you self-report your score, so you wouldn't have to do that number 2A here for that school, but you would have to do it for St. Cloud and for St. Thomas. You're going to have to send your ACT. The ACT is something that you have to do directly through your website, through the ACT's website. Now, some of you are in a spot where you haven't taken the ACT yet because of the COVID pandemic, because of you were planning on taking it in April, maybe you registered in June and it was canceled, whatever the situation is. So the most common question I'm getting right now is, should you apply still? And honestly, you should. That is something that you should just do. I wouldn't let not having an ACT score stop you from applying. So you would just skip this step. On October 6th, when you take it here at school, if all things work out, then you can send your score. But many schools have gone test optional for this upcoming year. And that's what I was talking about when I said that essay is going to be extremely important for your application. So the ACT, if you have it, you send it through the college, through ACT's website directly to the college. We don't send that from here at school. If you haven't taken it, go ahead and apply. If you take it in October, you get a score, you can send it. Or if you just go through the year and it doesn't work out, maybe you apply now and you hear back and you were accepted because you have a strong GPA, you've taken a great course, a challenging course load, and you write a killer essay. So you might even apply and hear back before you have the opportunity to take the ACT, and that's okay too. So 2C here, letters of recommendation. My advice is only send letters of recommendation if they require it. And the reason for that is, let's say you apply to a school and you're right on the bubble. You're sort of a borderline candidate. Maybe you get in, maybe you get waitlisted, or maybe you get denied and you want to appeal. To appeal that decision, you're going to have to send some type of new information. That new information usually includes your grades from trimester 1, maybe an update or an additional essay if they didn't have you write one, or maybe just an essay or a letter if you didn't have to write one as part of that initial process, and then letters of recommendation. Those things are kind of like your, okay, now if it's not required, here's my additional things that I can bring to the college that somebody's going to write for you. So there's a process for the letters of recommendation. You have to request it in Naviance. The teachers are going to ask you what's called the green sheet. That's available on our website. It's just like a little information sheet, almost like a resume. And then the teachers will send it directly to the college for you. So they don't give you a hard copy. You request it in Naviance, and then they send it off for you. And then if the school has one, you pay the application fee. Make sure if you are doing the Common App that you talk to your counselor, because the counselor has to do a couple different pieces for you. So if you're a senior now, right, and you haven't met your counselor, it's a good time to get to know them, because they're going to write a little written evaluation, it's called, almost like a mini recommendation for you. They're going to fill out the school report. There's a few things that they have to do, and it's better. It's a better reflection of who you are if they get to know you in a little bit more than just a name on a sheet type of situation. So we talked about the Naviance piece. We talked about the $3 fee. I also linked this document back in here. I'm going to open this up for you to see again. But this is the college application process at Andover High School. It walks you right through it. If you start at the very top and just go down, it kind of breaks into a little bit of a two parts of flow chart here. Like if you did the institution website or application or the Common App application, you just follow right down the line here. Your transcripts, it gives you screenshots on where to click in Naviance to request your transcripts. It gives you screenshots on how to request a letter of recommendation. This is going to walk you all the way through this. So if you get stuck, again, this can be found on our Career Center website, if I go to the Andover High School page, under support, and then Career Center, it's right down here, the Andover High School college application process. So again, your teachers will have access to this presentation and they can share it with you with the links right in it. But it's also on our website if that gets lost for some reason. So that should be the application process. Now, if you are someone that maybe you applied and it's been a month now and you haven't heard back, my guess is generally the school is missing one of these things here. They're missing one of these parts. So that's why I like to make sure, like, yeah, maybe you think you did the application, but maybe you haven't sent your transcript, or maybe they're waiting for your application fee. If it's going on 3, 4, 5 weeks, definitely let's look into this. Let's check to see what's going on because at most schools, especially if you're applying now, you're going to hear back earlier than a month, right? It doesn't, and again, it depends on where you're applying to. The more selective colleges are going to take a longer time to review your application. Some of the schools are going to have direct admissions. If you meet the requirements, you're in. So it just depends on where you're applying. So if I can help assist in looking these things up for you, seeing where they're at in the process, definitely, I'm more than happy to do that. All right, switching on. So October is College Knowledge Month. October is a crazy time in the college application world, right? I don't know what open houses are going to look like, what visits are looking like for October, but check each college's websites. I'm getting lots of emails now that some colleges are opening up for tours in small groups, with face masks and social distancing, but some of them are starting to open up a little bit. Um, excuse me. So if you haven't had the chance to tour, the joys of live recording, right? Sometimes you have to have a coffee break. If you haven't had a chance to tour campuses yet, October might be that opportunity for you. Check the school's websites. I'm going to guess that they're going to do some type of event. The other great thing about October is many colleges in Minnesota waive their application fee. So if you haven't applied and you're thinking like, I'm going to maybe do some exploring, maybe have some conversations with my parents, my teachers, with me. October is still plenty of time for you to apply. You can apply to all of the state schools in Minnesota. So Winona, Mankato, St. Cloud, Bemidji, the 2-year schools, Anoka Ramsey, Anoka Technical College, Hennepin Tech, whatever you're looking at. A lot of them, or most of them, are going to be free during October. So that list of schools is on this presentation. It's also linked on our website for you to check out as well. But again, just a great opportunity for you to take advantage of some free applications. Switching gears here to financial aid and FAFSA. So let's start with the FAFSA. Okay, so number one thing that you should know is that you should never pay to complete the FAFSA. So the acronym stands for the Free Application for Federal or Student Aid. So if you go to just FAFSA.com, that's the wrong website. That's like you have to pay someone basically to fill out your website or fill out your FAFSA for you. The FAFSA FAFSA.gov gov is the one that you want to go to. There's links for it right on our website. Like I said, lots of great resources there. We also host some information sessions. Usually I have that information out right now, but we're still trying to figure out, like, can we host it in person? Are we doing it virtual? But we are going to have some very helpful sessions on that because the FAFSA can be overwhelming. Maybe you're a first generation college student, your parents didn't go, you're the first one to go. That was my situation, and the FAFSA was new for me and my family. And my dad and I had to sit down and sort of figure it out. And what I want to make sure is that you have the resources to be able to do that, right? When you filled out the FAFSA, you don't have to know where you're going yet. You have a spot to list 10, up to 10 applications, 10 places where they're going to send your financial aid information to those colleges. So how it works is after October 1, you fill out the form with your parents. You guys sit down together, you fill it out. You list the schools that you're applying to on there, and the FAFSA then sends that information to those colleges. Once you're accepted to those colleges, they're going to send you a financial aid package. In that financial aid package, they're going to tell you what you qualified for. What you qualified for is going to be one of these 4 things. It's going to be or none of them, right? Or 3 out of the 4, or 2 out of the 4. It's going to be either some scholarships, it's going to be grants, it's going to be either work study, or it's going to be student loans. So scholarships are something that you've earned, right? There's usually some type of responsibility that comes with it. You have to have a certain GPA, you have to have a certain major, you have to do community service, whatever that looks like. But the grants then are usually something that are free money. You get because of a characteristic you have, you get because of a family member served in the military, whatever that looks like. There's a bunch of different grants, but the difference is usually there's not that criteria tied to it for renewal. Okay, work study. Work study is probably my favorite type of financial aid. I think if you're offered it, you should absolutely take it. What that is that those are the people, if you've been on a tour or you've seen campus where they work in the library, they work in the rec center, they work in the dorm rooms where they're checking in students for to go to the climbing wall, the rock wall. They're working in the bookstore, whatever that looks like. And every college handles it a little bit differently, but they either give you a check or they take that money you've earned and they apply it right to your tuition. And then the last one is loans. Loans are something that you're going to hear a ton about. It's a hot button topic. It's been in the news. It's been all over. Um, the key thing about loans is just to make sure you're informed. Student loans are not always a negative thing, right? It doesn't it doesn't mean like freak out. I have to take out loans. The key thing is to take out what you need, and not to take out the extra, and just be aware of what the repayment plan is. And we can talk more about that once you get to that piece. It's a really hard conversation to have in large groups because every one of you is going to get a different financial aid package from every different college. It's all based off of your personal situation, what your family income is, what your, do you have siblings in college? There's all these other factors. So everyone is unique. So I try to keep it really broad when talking about financial aid. But if you have specific questions, I would be more than happy to help you navigate that process. So the other one that I just wanted to make sure I linked in here is our scholarships page. I get a ton of questions about this. So on our website, again, back to the Andover High School page, if I go to support and then Career Center, there's a financial aid and scholarships link over here. These three things are going to be the links to our scholarships, these three top links here. This is our scholarship list. This is probably the one where the majority of your your scholarship money is going to come from. This is updated often. It has many, many different types of scholarships on here. In the Career Center, there's a file cabinet where if it says pick it up in the Career Center, it's available in our file cabinet here. Otherwise, there's a link directly to the website built into the description here. If I find one with a link, yeah, like these ones right here. So this is a great time for you to start, maybe print this list off, save it to your Google Drive, and start kind of highlighting and saving the ones that you are going to apply for. Because like I said, many of them are open in the spring, but having that list now would be super helpful for you. All right, back to our presentation. Let me get a little coffee break here. As we jump into our essays. So essays are vital. They're, especially this year with some of the test optional things, test optional schools, they're going to be really relying on your essay. So what they're looking for is, first and foremost, does it demonstrate that you have college level writing? Did you take the time? Did you proofread? Did you format accordingly? Did you do those little things that just demonstrate that you're ready for college? One of the things that I would highly advise you to do is to have somebody else look at your essay, physically print it out and look at what the essay looks like. Because I know when students ask me to read a lot of essays, when I get them, it's really obvious to the ones that didn't reread it themselves, didn't have anybody else look at it, didn't maybe even typed it on their phone, right? Type it on a Chromebook, type it on your computer. If you do it in Google Drive, that's fine, or excuse me, in Google Docs, just make sure that you are formatting so that it looks like a college essay. The second one is, can we get a good sense of who you are? Can we get a sense of your personality? Does your voice come through? Remember, this is a personal essay. It's not this dramatic reading of something that starts with these crazy metaphors and things like that, right? This is personal. This is your voice. This is your opinion on things that matter to you, that are important to you. And then the last one is, do we see evidence that you're a good fit for our college? Do your values align? Do you Do you talk about your involvement on campus maybe? Do they have the programs, the things that you say that are important to you on campus? Those are the things that they want to see. They want to make sure that you're a good fit. They want to make sure that your personality comes through and that you have college level writing skills. This is a great article. Like I said, I read a ton of these essays, and I took sort of this the author of this article's 10 things to avoid, kind of looking at it from that side of it first. Um, remember these are limited. You have a word count, so you want to make sure that you are leaving out like number one and number two. The first three here um, are probably the most common mistakes that I see. You either repeat the prompt, like you rewrite what the prompt was. You start with a definition, right? You define a word, or you start with a big long quote. Okay, if you only have 650 words, those aren't your voice. Those aren't your words. Those are completely overdue on the essay, right? I'm going to let you guys read this. I think that there's some really strong things, and the author um, kind of explains these all in more in depth. But there are those 10 rules are those first three of those 10 rules are the ones that I see the most common mistakes. So um, let's go to the other side of it. So what makes you successful? And I talked about the number one a little bit already, but first and foremost, make it your own. Make it your voice. If I'm reading it and I could apply that same essay to 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 other students that come through the Career Center, we have a problem, right? And not that you can't write about the same topic, but the voice of it, the tone of it should be yours. The other one I see a lot of too is number two. It's important to find a topic that's important to you. It's not a hard essay to write if you write about something that's important to you. Now, when I say that, it doesn't mean that it has to be something like super personal or super dramatic. It can be funny. It can be lighthearted. Um, it can be about your experience playing a certain sport. It can be about your job. It can be about those things that are meaningful to you. But again, when I talk about your sport, let's use football as an example. Let's not write about football. Let's write about why you love football. Is it the being around your friends, getting to compete, getting to physically challenge yourself, and then can you apply that back to life outside of football? Those are the things that they're looking for. Can you take those lessons you learned on football games, football practices, and how you're going to apply those into your career as a um, engineer, right? The hard work, the overcoming difficult obstacles, the problem solving, that kind of stuff, right? Um, Number three, and this is hard for students too, but just start writing. Don't look for that perfect hook yet. Don't try and just nail them on that first line. Start writing. Start writing, getting your thoughts out, and then you can organize. Then you can cut things out of there, right? Write a lot is number four. If you're writing with the idea of like I have to keep it under the 600 words or 500 words or 1,000 words, um, it's really hard to do that. I would just say write until the topic you feel like you are done writing about the topic. If you're short, that's okay. If it's a strong essay and you're only, let's say the limit was 650 words and you're only at 500, but you feel like you nailed it, that's okay. If you're at 1,000 words and the cutoff was 650, you got to do some cutting, and that's why it's important to have other people read your essay. I'll read it. Your parents can read it. Your friends can read it. Your English 12 teachers can read it. Whatever. Who I would say the more you can have other people read it, give you opinions, the better. Number five is rewrite, reuse, rewrite, reuse. Right. What I mean by that is to write one really strong essay. You have the opportunity to do that in this class, and then reuse it for other things. Many of the topics are going to be something along the lines of tell us why. Tell us why it's important to you. Tell us why you need this. Tell us about something that happened to you and how you overcame it. Those essays, you can't steal from yourself. You can't plagiarize yourself. So if you can definitely write one strong essay, tweak it a little bit to fit the topic for the next one, maybe for a scholarship, maybe for a job opportunity, whatever it might be, and then rewrite it and reuse it again. I talked about number six, to show it to other people. And the last one is you should be proud of this essay. This is something that's personal to you. This is something that you put a lot of time in. You put a lot of effort in. You've had people, others look at it. You've tweaked it. You've modified it. If you ask yourself, am I proud of this, and you can say yes, then you are good to go. I think you should be definitely turn that essay and then and just see what happens. So those are my 7 tips. I hope those help you. And like I said, I definitely am someone that would be more than willing to read one for you, read a essay draft for you, and offer my advice. I'm not an English teacher, so I'm not going to be the person that tweaks your grammar and tweaks your those the all of those little writing tools and writing rules. But what I will do is I'll read it from the college side. I'll read it from the college perspective. I'll give you my opinion if I was a college advisor or a college representative reading your essay for the first time. So the Common App, I think your assignment is going to be based on the Common App here. These are the prompts. These haven't changed much for the last couple of years. They're actually the same as last year. The reason why I show these is just to tell you that the 3 most common ones, and honestly, it's like almost 75% of the essays are either number 1, number 5, or number 7. And I think you guys maybe can't do number 7. I'll let your teachers explain that one. But my advice, and the reason why I show this, is if you want to stand out, maybe you want to look at one of the other essay prompts. Maybe you want to look at one that isn't 3 out of the 4 essays that I read here. But with that said, if you read number 5 and you're like, that's the one that that hits me, go for it, use it, right? It's not a negative thing. I'm just kind of giving you some tips, some ideas as you're looking to navigate through this process here. So the last one at the end here, this is something that really stands out to me when I talk about essays. Writing an essay that is compelling doesn't mean that you need to have wrestled a puma, grown up in a cult, or discovered a new galaxy at age 7. A great college essay can take place on a grand stage, but it can just as effectively take place in everyday life. There is a ready supply of drama, tension, and conflict in the course of a typical day. Over the course of your life, you will have undoubtedly had experiences that constitute worthy topics. Think it over, talk to family and friends, your compelling story will emerge. And I think this is so important because some of you are 18, most of you are 17 as you're sitting there writing this. You don't have to have this personal just tragedy to write about. And some reason, when students get this essay, when they get to these essays of their college applications, they feel like it has to be this huge thing, this huge tragic event. And it doesn't have to be that. The best essays are the ones that come from your own personality. They come from your own experiences and what you've learned and how you can use that going forward. Taking a small piece of your life as a 17-year-old senior at Andover High School and using that on the grand stage of when I get to my college campus, I know that I'm prepared because I went through this experience, or I learned this, or I was a part of that, or I took a leadership role doing this. It doesn't, again, in closing, it doesn't have to be super dramatic and tragic. So with that, I thank you for your time. I appreciate the opportunity to present, even though it's not in a way that any of us want to be presenting. I would much rather have been there with you all and been able to answer some questions, but know that if things have come up, or if questions have arose, definitely reach out, email, come down and see me. Get on the Career Center website and look through some of those resources. There's a lot of stuff on there. But thank you again, and I look forward to hearing from you all and seeing where your college path leads you, because I know one thing that is exciting things ahead, and you have some exciting possibilities in front of you, and I'm just proud to see our senior class develop and grow into whatever path they find success in. So thank you again, and we will see you all soon.